Yeah, okay. We are on.
Always do your best. There is just one more agreement, but it's the one that allows the other three to become deeply ingrained habits. The fourth agreement is about the action of the first three. Always do your best. Under any circumstance, always do your best, no more and no less. But keep in mind that your best is never going to be the same from one moment to the next. Everything is alive and changing all the time. So your best will sometimes be high quality and other times it will not be as good. When you wake up refreshed and energized in the morning, your best will be better than when you are tired at night. Your best will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick, or sober as opposed to drunk. Your best will depend on whether you are feeling wonderful and happy or upset, angry, or jealous.
So at the end of the day, we must always do our best. Whenever we are not doing our best, if you really look at it, you will always find yourself on the left side of the grid. And one of the four tenets of the four S's will be violated. Okay. So when you're doing your best, you're automatically on the right side of the grid and all the four tenets are being met.
In your everyday moods, your best can change from one moment to another, from 1 hour to the next, from one day to another. Your best will also change over time. As you build the habit of the four new agreements, your best will become better than it used to be.
So now what is the meaning of this? As we are growing, as we are learning more, we are constantly changing. We are not the same what we were same one moment ago. Okay. So all of us are growing. So our best will also definitely keep increasing. Like for example, if I've become good at, I mean, I can't say that, okay, I am good at answering questions. You know, when a person asks the question, it has not happened overnight. It has taken time for me to be able to develop this ability to be able to answer questions confidently. But there has been a lot of practice behind it. There's been a lot of change. There's been a lot of reading. There's been a lot of attending more seminars, talking to various people. So it has grown over a period of time. Now, for example, when you're using the reball, now when you start doing it, there'll be a little shakiness, hoega ki nahi hoega. The moment you start doing it and you can start seeing the results, you will find that your confidence in doing that will improve. So your best will also always keep changing.
Regardless of the quality, keep doing your best. No more and no less than your best. If you try too hard to do more than your best, you will spend more energy than is needed, and in the end, your best will not be enough.
Now this is very important. What is the second tenet? Sahaj. It should be easy for you to do. Now, if you are using more energy and you are pushing yourself to do something, then it is not something which is sahaj for you. The point is to be at ease when we are doing something, and we perform the best when we are at ease. Okay. So this is very important here.
When you overdo, you deplete your body and go against yourself, and it will take you longer to accomplish your goal. But if you do less than your best, you subject yourself to frustrations, self judgment, guilt, and regrets.
So now, if you've not done your best, then who is the witness? You are yourself witnessing your actions. So you know that you've not done your best. And when you know, there'll automatically be a feeling of guilt. So you will be on the left side of the grid. So you will create a problem for yourself.
Just do your best in any circumstance in your life. It doesn't matter if you're sick or tired. If you always do your best, there is no way you can judge yourself. And if you don't
Okay,
judge
so now this
yourself,
becomes
there is
important over here. This becomes very important. Okay, if you are always doing your best, there's no way you can judge yourself. Why? Because you know you've done your best and you have no one else to answer to except for yourself. Because if you've not done your best, then you know you've not done your best. But if you've done your best, you know that you've done your best and you could not have done better. So there is no argument and no discussion about it. So you have to feel that peace within that, yes, I have done my best.
And if you don't judge yourself, there is there is no way you're going to suffer from guilt, blame, and self punishment. By always doing your best, you will break a big spell that you have been under.
So now
There
what
was a
happens?
man.
What happens over here now? Today, who is our biggest critic? We ourselves are our biggest critic. Now, if you know you've done your best, then you're not going to self-criticize yourself. And we know from Dr. Emoto's experiments that when we are critical, we are actually creating a huge problem for ourselves.
There was a man who wanted to transcend his suffering, so he went to a Buddhist temple to find a master to help him. He went to the master and asked, "Master, if I meditate 4 hours a day, how long will it take me to transcend?" The master looked at him and said, "If you meditate 4 hours a day, perhaps you will transcend in 10 years." Thinking he could do better, the man then said, "Oh, master, what if I meditated 8 hours a day? How long will it take me to transcend?" The master looked at him and said, "If you meditate 8 hours a day, perhaps you will transcend in 20 years. "But why will it take me longer if I meditate more?" the man asked. The master replied, "You are not here to sacrifice your joy or your life. You are here to live, to be happy, and to love. If you can do your best in 2 hours of meditation, but you spend 8 hours instead, you will only grow tired, miss the point, and you won't enjoy your life. Do your best, and perhaps you will learn that no matter how long you meditate, you can live, love, and be happy."
So if you overdo something, always it's a problem. There is a concept in the HeartMath program. It is called overcare. If you overcare for someone also, it is a huge problem. Okay. So if you overdo something, it is not going to necessarily give you the results that you are looking for. There is always a tipping point. So you have to be consciously aware that where is that tipping point being hit. If you can hit that tipping point, then you need to take the break. I was just reading a book where it says steal like an artist. So what he says is that nothing is ever created. Everything is dependent on something else. So you've seen something somewhere, you've read a book somewhere, you've done something somewhere. Now what ideas you come out with is a hodgepodge of what your experiences are, and you create a new thing saying that, okay, I have taken this from here, this from here, this from there, and I've made a hodgepodge and given it to you. Like even I am doing this all the time. I'm taking stuff from various books and telling you, okay, this is from this book, this is from this book. But he says very clearly, you need the off time, because in the off time is when you assimilate. Now we've also seen whenever there's a growth curve of anyone, the graph goes straight and then you come to a plateau point. The plateau point is the most important time because that is the time when you assimilate things. Now if you do not handle the plateau time well, you will start going down or you will come to the next growth curve. So these down times are extremely important. So when you feel that, yes, now my brain is fried, I need to take a break, take the break. If you overdo it, then nothing is going to go into your head. Okay. So these break times are extremely important in the whole gambit. And we have to become aware that when is the right time for me to take the break.
Doing your best, you are going to live your life intensely. You're going to be productive. You're going to be good to yourself because you will be giving yourself to your family, to your community, to everything. But it is the action that is going to make you feel intensely happy. When you always do your best, you take action. Doing your best is taking the action because you love it, not because you're expecting a reward.
One second.
Most people do exactly the opposite. They only take action when they expect a reward and they don't enjoy the action. And that's the reason why they don't do their best.
So now, any action that we take, if we are doing it for the joy of doing it, then we are not really interested in whether the reward will come or not. Why? Because you are doing it for yourself. Now, if a reward comes after that, it is the icing on the cake. It is not the cake. So always, if we can do things that we enjoy doing, the things that we love doing, then where is the problem? And if you see, whenever you love doing something, you will find all the four tenets are met. Okay, the four S's are met. You are operating from the right side of the grid. Now, let us say I'm doing a job and I'm expecting a reward after that. Now, if I don't get the reward, what happens? I feel dissatisfied, I'll feel frustrated, and I'll go on to the left side of the grid. Now, this happens to most people. The moment you can start becoming aware of it, you will transcend from the left side to the right side of the grid. Anju, you have a question? Please unmute yourself. You have a question, Anju? Okay, she's not here. Her hand was raised. Chalo, carry on.
For example, most people go to work every day just thinking of payday and the money they will get from the work they are doing. They can hardly wait for Friday or Saturday. Whatever day, they receive their money and can take time off. They are working for the reward, and as a result, they resist work. They try to avoid the action, and it becomes more difficult, and they don't do their best.
So now what happens? If I'm working for a reward, then if I don't get the reward, I will feel unhappy and it will become a burden for me to do the work. So an example that Nagendra ji gives in the Shivendra ji gives in the Gita classes is that there is a gym in a space, and nearby the gym there is a construction activity taking place. Now in the gym there is this youngster who is doing gym, okay, and in the construction site there's a labor who is lifting the bricks. Now both are doing actually the same thing, both are lifting weights. Now inside the gym, when the trainer puts more weight on the youngster's back or in the youngster's this thing, he feels happy, I am lifting more weight. Now in the same thing, if the contractor puts more bricks on the laborer, do you think he feels happy? So if I'm doing some activity for the pleasure of doing the activity, then automatically it becomes a pleasure and not the pain. But if I'm doing it for a paycheck, then it becomes a pain. So you will find this is the distinction between star performers. There's a concept called a star performer. A star performer is a guy who you put in any situation and the guy will perform. Why? Because they do it from the heart. They'll give it their best shot every time they do something. But you have, in the inverse, you have the other guy who, in any situation you put him, he will create problems and create resistance. So if we are operating from that resistance, always finding a problem, always finding a way of how to not do something, we are always going to have a problem in whatever we are doing. So he says over here, they are working for the reward, and as a result, they resist the work. Now, whatever you resist will persist. Why? Because that is the vibration that is there in your field, and that more of that you are going to invite. Now, if my field is clear and I'm giving it my best shot, the opportunities that will come in front of me will always take me forward. But if I'm resisting, then opportunities also will take time to come, because number one, I won't be aware that the opportunities come, because I'm always having blinkers in the eyes and resisting whatever is manifesting for me.
They work so hard all week long, suffering the work, suffering the action, not because they like to, but because they feel they have to. They have to work because they have to pay the rent, because they have to support their family. They have all that frustration, and when they do receive their money, they are unhappy.
Okay, so now 1 second here. Now they are receiving the paycheck, but what was the state of consciousness with which they were doing the work? Because that state of consciousness will affect the result. The result is getting that paycheck. So that paycheck gets tainted with their unhappiness. So they will never be happy with the paycheck. Why? Because they're operating from the left side of the grid and they are really not happy about the work that they are doing. Now, the other guy who's happy with the work he's doing will have gratitude in his heart when he receives the paycheck. When he takes the paycheck home, the money will be imprinted with that gratitude. When they buy something with that money which is tainted in gratitude, the, the result of whatever they are buying from that will again be happiness. So you are perpetuating gratitude and happiness in your life. Whereas if you are in resistance, always seeing what's in it for me, operating from the selfish attitude rather than operating from a holistic attitude, you land up creating issues and problems for yourself.
They have 2 days to rest, to do what they want to do. And what do? They try to escape. They get drunk because they don't like themselves. They don't like their life. There are many ways that we hurt ourselves when we don't like who we are.
So now anyone who's in resistance, the first thing is that they are not happy with their life. They are not happy with their circumstances. They are not in the flow. They are not aligning with the universal consciousness. So automatically they come into unhappiness. Okay. The moment we start going into the flow, when the universe is providing an opportunity for me, I will take it and do my best in that situation. Once I get into that attitude, you'll find your stuff will start to move faster and things will start manifesting for you. But if you are in resistance, constantly saying what's in it for me, you are cutting your own feet.
On the other hand, if you take action just for the sake of doing it without expecting a reward, you will find that you enjoy every action you do.
So basically that's it, right? Now you're just doing it for the act. You're happy doing the act. Whether you get a reward or not is not important at all, because you're finding joy in just doing that act. So everything starts to become a pleasure, not a pain.
Rewards will come, but you are not attached to the reward. You can even get more than you would have imagined for yourself without expecting a reward. If we like what we do, if we always do our best, then we are really enjoying life. We are having fun. We don't get bored. We don't have frustrations.
Okay, so if I'm, you see, the point here is that if you are working for a reward, then whether you get what you expected or not becomes important. But if you're not expecting a reward only, then what's the problem? You're just doing it for the fun of it.
When you do your best, you don't give the judge the opportunity to find you guilty or to blame you. If you have done your best and the judge tries to judge you according to the book of laws, you've got the answer, I did my best. There are no regrets. That is why we always do our best. It is not an easy agreement to keep, but this agreement is really going to set you free.
So whatever
When
the
you
situation may be, whatever the circumstances may be, if you have done your best, then you can forget the rest. Okay, you don't need to bother about the rest. Simply do your best.
when you do your best, you learn to accept yourself, but you have to be aware and learn from your mistakes. Learning from your mistakes means you practice, look honestly at the results, and keep practicing. This increases your awareness.
So how do we learn the most? By making mistakes. And who makes mistakes? Who takes the action? Okay. Now, if you're not going to take any action, naturally there will be no mistakes. But the guy who grows is the one who makes the most mistakes. If you see any inventor worth his salt, you will see they have failed thousands and thousands of times. They have learned from what they did in the last experiment, and they have created a new protocol for a new experiment and done it. And like that, they have come up with their best inventions. So the more you fail, the more resilient you become, provided you're doing your best even in that failure. You grow stronger in your failure rather than growing weaker, provided you're constantly striving to do your best.
Doing your best really doesn't feel like work because you enjoy whatever you are doing. You know you're doing your best when you are enjoying the action or doing it in a way that will not have negative repercussions for you. You do your best because you want to do it, not because you have to do it.
Now this is
Not
very important.
because you
Okay,
are
just please
trying
tell
to
me.
please the judge, and not because you are trying to please other people.
So you are doing your best because you want to do it, not because you have to do it. Now, when I am saying I have to do something, then I'm creating a pressure on myself. The second tenant is getting violated. Okay. It is not easy for you to do. Plus, you're operating on the left side of the grid. Now, the same task which is given to me, I say I want to do it. I would like to do it, and I'm going to give it my best shot. Okay. Now, when I'm doing my best, it becomes easy for me to do. And also, I am operating from the right side of the grid, which is allowing me an uplifting kind of a field which will make me grow. So even if I fail in completing the task, it will still make me grow, it will still give me something out of that action. But if I'm in resistance, then I'm going to get more frustrated and I'm going to go into the negative spiral rather than the upward spiral.
If you take action because you have to, then there is no way you are going to do your best. Then it is better not to do it. No, you do your best because doing your best all the time makes you so happy. When you're doing your best just for the pleasure of doing it, you are taking action because you enjoy the action.
So enjoy any action that you take.
Action is about living fully. Inaction is the way that we deny life. Inaction is sitting in front of the television every day for years because you are afraid to be alive and to take the risk of expressing what you are. Expressing what you are is taking action. You can have many great ideas in your head, but what makes the difference is the action. Without action upon an idea, there will be no manifestation, no results, and no reward.
Okay, so when we take aura pictures of people, I find this happening many times, and it especially happens with the red aura person. I can show you some pictures also, but there is an orange circle which comes in the middle. Now, whenever that happens, it means that the person has a lot of creativity within themselves. So they are thinking, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, but they just don't take the action to do it. Now, if I'm thinking I want to do something, but I don't act on it, then it is never going to manifest. Okay. So it's extremely important when we are getting into the flow and the ideas are coming to us, we need to take action. And the more action we take, the more successful we will become. Now, success is not measured in monetary terms, mind you. Success can mean happiness. It can mean a sense of feeling satisfied within. It can mean well-being. It can mean just learning something. So success, in unfortunately in the materialistic society that we are living in, has started to be equated with financial wealth. But let me tell you, I go to a lot of houses, top business houses, lot of wealth. Okay. But let me tell you, are they happy? Big question mark. So wealth is not something that makes you happy. So what is satisfying to you? What is uplifting you? That becomes extremely important. And when you take the small actions, when you respond to an action, that is what makes you ultimately happy.
A good example of this comes from the story about Forrest Gump. He didn't have great ideas, but he took action. He was happy because he always did his best at whatever he did. He was richly rewarded without expecting any reward at all. Taking action is being alive. It's taking the risk to go out and express your dream. This is different than imposing your dream on someone else because everyone has the right to express his or her dream.
So Forrest Gump, it's a movie. Okay. Now this guy, he was not very bright and intelligent, but he just did it best in whatever he did. And it's a movie worth watching. Maybe, I don't know, we'll watch it together. Let's see. Amazing movie.
Doing your best is a great habit to have. I do my best in everything I do and feel. Doing my best has become a ritual in my life because I made the choice to make it a ritual. It's a belief like any other belief that I choose. I make everything a ritual and I always do my best. Taking a shower is a ritual for me. And with that action, I tell my body how much I love it. I feel and enjoy the water on my body. I do my best to fulfill the needs of my body. I do my best to give to my body and to receive what my body gives to me.
So any action that you take, you can do it in a state of bliss. You can do it in a state of happiness. Okay. If I'm talking, I can do it in a state of happiness. I can do it in a state of frustration. If I'm sitting on the pot, let's take a gross example. I can enjoy that experience also. So you can actually find joy in everything that you do. The point is of the attitude, where what is your perspective of looking at that particular action, which makes it extremely important.
Like the joy of book reading.
Absolutely, it's a joy for me. It's
Yes,
a joy, it's a pleasure. Okay, it's not a pain.
yes,
So
yes.
when you're enjoying something, there is joy in it, right? Now if the same thing I was doing it for a reward, for example, and then I didn't get the reward, then there was a problem. But I'm
Yeah,
doing it for the joy of doing it, so there's no issue whatsoever, if you
yeah.
if you get what I mean.
And it also gets energizing.
Naturally, because when you're doing something for
Yeah.
the joy of it, you're doing it for the joy of it. Bhai, bottom line to wahi ho gaya na. There is no argument, no discussion on that.
In India, they perform a ritual called puja. In this ritual, they take idols that represent God in many different forms and bathe them, feed them, and give their love to them. They even chant mantras to these idols. The idol itself is not important. What is important is the way they perform the ritual, the way they say, I love you, God.
So now, again, this is a big issue, right? Now, today we are doing the puja, but what state of consciousness are we doing puja from? Have I made it a pain for me that I have to do the puja? Okay. Now, if that is the consciousness with which you are doing it, then God is not asking you to do that puja. So why are you doing it? So if you are doing it for the joy of doing the puja, you're actually enjoying the puja, you're making a spiritual connection with the idol, and you're talking to the idol, because the idol has life. Let me tell you, every and each thing around us has life, and the way you connect with something gives life to that. Okay, now the computer we are talking on has life, and we've seen the reball works with the computer. Anything today, ladies have these bags. Now you use the bag with love, you'll find it will last for maybe a decade. But you use the bag without love, you don't treat it properly, it is going to collapse totally. So in the puja also, what is the state of consciousness with which you are doing the puja is extremely important.
God is life. God is life in action. The best way to say, I love you, God, is to live your life doing your best. The best way to say, thank you, God, is by letting go of the past and living in the present moment, right here and now.
So we saw this in the power of now, because that's the only thing that we have. Now, if we can focus our attention on fully on what we are doing at that point in time, we will automatically do our best, because we are not going to be hindered by the guilt of the past nor the anxiety of the future. So whenever we are doing anything, do it with gratitude and do it to the best of your ability.
Whatever life takes away from you, let it go. When you surrender and let go of the past, you allow yourself to be fully alive in the moment. Letting go of the past means you can enjoy the dream that is happening right now.
So many times, you will lose something. Now, as I said, that today when a person transcends, I don't know which book we discussed this in, you can get stuck here for three things. You can get stuck to a place, you can get stuck to a person, you can get stuck to a thing. Now, if something is meant to move out of your life, if you gracefully let it go, okay, and you don't resist it, then you will find that if it needs to come back, it will come back. Otherwise, your time with that thing is over. Now, if I'm getting stuck with a thing, I'm always stuck with the past. Why? Because there is a history associated with that thing which is going, which I don't want to release. So it automatically shifts me out of the now and into the past. So when I let go of it, it allows me to come back into the present.
If you live in a past dream, you don't enjoy what is happening right now because you will always wish it to be different than it is. There is no time to miss anyone or anything because you are alive. Not enjoying what is happening right now is living in the past and being only half alive. This leads to self-pity, suffering, and tears.
Okay, so again, whatever you imagine should be may not be what's the best to manifest. Now, if we can shift our core belief system to work or to operate from a state of consciousness where we start saying that whatever is happening for the best, and trust the universal consciousness plan, then whatever will be happening with us will be acceptable to us. Okay, so my Nana ji used to say, मेरा मैं जो चाहता हूं हमेशा होता है. So someone turned out and asked him that how can you say that? How is it possible that whatever is happening, whatever you want to happen is happening? He said that my will I have aligned my will with the divine will, and whatever he wills is happening, and my will is aligned with his will. So whatever is happening as per my will. Now when I go back to the Gita classes that we are listening to, he says very clearly that whatever is happening to you is the result of your desires, okay, your vasanas. So if it is happening, you are the creator of what is happening. Having said that, you may not be consciously aware that you are the creator of what is happening, but if you can start aligning to the divine will, then automatically you will start to flow, and whatever is happening, you will start accepting it. When you start accepting it, it will automatically become a joy.
You were born with the right to be happy. You were born with the right to love, to enjoy, and to share your love. You are alive, so take your life and enjoy it. Don't resist life passing through you because that is God passing through you. Just your existence proves the existence of God. Your existence proves the existence of life and energy. We don't need to know or prove anything.
Basically what he's saying here, we are existing because of that divine spark. You take the divine spark away, and what is it? People don't want to touch the dead body also. So what is making the body alive? It is that divine spark.
We don't need to know or prove anything. Just to be, to take a risk and enjoy your life is all that matters. Say no when you want to say no, and yes when you want to say yes. You have the right to be you. You can only be you when you do your best. When you don't do your best, you're denying yourself the right to be you. That's a seed that you should really nurture in your mind. You don't need knowledge or great philosophical concepts. You don't need the acceptance of others. You express your own divinity of being alive and by loving yourself and others. It is an expression of God to say, hey, I love you.
So you can only be you when you are doing your best. But see, who is the person who knows that you're doing your best or not? It is basically you. So most of the time we fall short in our own eyes, and then we start feeling guilty. But if you are giving it your best shot and truly giving it your best shot, then there is no reason for you to have any kind of guilty conscience.
The first 3 agreements will only work if you do your best. Don't expect that you will always be able to be impeccable with your word. Your routine habits are too strong and firmly rooted in your mind, but you can do your best. Don't expect that you will never take anything personally. Just do your best. Don't expect that you will never make another assumption, but you can certainly do your best.
So again, the first three agreements: being impeccable with your word, not taking anything personally, not making assumptions. The more true you become to yourself, you will find that these three will start working. And ultimately, in these circumstances, if you are doing your best, the other three will automatically manifest. And we can see it happening around us all the time.
By doing your best, the habits of misusing your word, taking things personally, and making assumptions will become weaker and less frequent with time. You don't need to judge yourself, feel guilty, or punish yourself if you cannot keep these agreements. If you are doing your best, you will feel good about yourself, even if you still make assumptions, still take things personally, and still are not impeccable with your word.
See, now what does that do? If you're doing your best, you bring awareness to the fact that you have made a mistake and you learn from your mistakes. So the more awareness you bring into the concepts, the better off you will automatically become.
If you do your best always, over and over again, you will become a master of transformation. Practice makes the master. By doing your best, you become a master. Everything you have ever learned, you learn through repetition. You are a master of speaking your language because you practiced. Action is what makes the difference. Anjuji wants to say something?
No, I don't think so.
No, because वो बार बार ऊपर नीचे हो रहा है ना, तो it's very distracting. If you do your best in the search for personal freedom, in the search for self-love, you will discover that it's just a matter of time before you find what you are looking for. It's not about daydreaming or sitting for hours dreaming in meditation. You have to stand up and be a human. You have to honor the man or woman that you are. Respect your body, enjoy your body, love your body, feed, clean, and heal your body. Exercise and do what makes your body feel good. This is a puja to your body, and that is a communion between you and God.
So you do what you love doing and be grateful, operate out of gratitude for what you have. And the body is your biggest instrument. It is so sensitive. It is so powerful that we really don't know. Yesterday I was watching that movie Lucy, and in that they say that we are hardly using 10% of our brain capacity. And if we can enhance the use of our brain capacity, our perception levels can increase to such an extent, our ability to assimilate can increase to such an extent that it is actually unfathomable by us right now. But ultimately, what? We need to operate out of gratitude. We need to love what we are doing. We need to love what we have. Okay? Otherwise, we'll never get what we want.
She wants to say something.
And you want to say something? I don't know. There's something going wrong, and you forget it.
No,
No,
I
she's
think
not.
she can't unmute. I think that's what
No,
she was
she's
writing on
she's
the chat.
unmuted.
She's unmuted.
Oh, अच्छा.
She's written on the chat that she wants to say something, and बार बार वो हाथ ऊपर नीचे हो रहा है, but she is unmuted.
Why don't you log in and log out again?
Log out and log in again.
We log out and log in again.
If you do your best in the search for personal freedom, in the search for self-love, you will discover that it's just a matter of time before you find what you are looking for. It's not about daydreaming or sitting for hours dreaming in meditation. You have to stand up and be a human. You have to honor the man or woman that you are. Respect your body, enjoy your body, love your body, feed, clean, and heal your body. Exercise and do what makes your body feel good. This is a puja to your body, and that is a communion between you and God. You don't
Can
need
you
to
hear me?
worship
Yeah, we
idols.
can
Can
hear
you
you
hear
now.
me? Okay, Bhaiya. Bhaiya, just wanted to go back a little.
Hmm.
Like these three agreements, you said that if we don't follow this three agreement, it will take time to practice. What did you say?
No,
It
no,
got
no, no, no. I said that the more you are doing your best, okay, you become aware where you are missing your word, where you are taking things personally, and where you are making assumptions. The moment you do that, you start being able to check yourself. And then as you start checking yourself slowly, if you were making 10 assumptions, you'll start making 5 assumptions, 4 assumptions, 2 assumptions, 1 assumption. Then you will reject anything that you're not getting proper information about. You will stop taking things personally. Someone is saying, so over a period of time, it will start to happen. But it will happen when you do your best. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You don't need to worship idols of the Virgin Mary, the Christ, or the Buddha. You can if you want to. If it feels good, do it. Your own body is a manifestation of God, and if you honor your body, everything will change for you. When you practice giving love to every part of your body, you plant seeds of life in your love in your mind, and when they grow, you will love, honor, and respect your body immensely.
This is beautiful, right? The body has been given to us by the universe. Now, if we care and love our body, then we are doing puja of the body, because the body technically represents the universe. Beautifully said.
Very nicely said that when you practice giving love to every part of your body, you plant seeds of love in your mind, and when they grow, you will love, honor, and respect your body immensely. Every action then becomes a ritual in which you are honoring God. After that, the next step is honoring God with every thought, every emotion, every belief, even what is right or wrong. Every thought becomes a communion with God, and you will live a dream without judgments, victimization, and free of the need to gossip and abuse yourself.
So everything becomes in the flow. When you are in the flow, then everything is an act of goodness, an act of the universal consciousness. When that starts happening, then automatically you would not like to gossip. You will not associate with anything that is depleting. You will transcend it, you will skip it. Why? Because there's no resonance in you for that. When you resonate with something, that is when it will come into your life. But if I'm not resonating with something, why will I pay attention to it? So slowly you will start paying attention to everything that is uplifting rather than depleting.
When you honor these four agreements together, there is no way that you will live in hell. There is no way. If you are impeccable with your word, if you don't take anything personally, if you don't make assumptions, if you always do your best, then you are going to have a beautiful life. You're going to control your life 100%. The four agreements are a summary of the mastery of transformation, one of the masteries of the Toltec. You transform hell into heaven. The dream of the planet is transformed into your personal dream of heaven. The knowledge is there. It's just waiting for you to use it. The four agreements are there. You just need to adopt these agreements and respect their meaning and power.
See, it is a very, very simple thing. If you're going to pay attention to your word, when you give your word or you say something, you are operating from a deep sense of trueness, that it is the truth. Okay. When someone says something, don't take it personally and don't make assumptions about what is happening. Unless you have proper data, do not accept anything. So automatically you'll start finding that start operating from a core state of truth. You will start operating from a core state of spiritual being. And then again, if you're doing your best along with that, automatically things will start to fall in place in your life.
Just do your best to honor these agreements. You can make this agreement today. I choose to honor the four agreements. It's so simple and logical that even a child can understand them. But you must have a very strong will to keep these agreements. Why? Because wherever you go, we find that our path is full of obstacles. Everyone tries to sabotage our commitment to these new agreements, and everything around us is a setup for us to break them. The problem is, all the other agreements that are a part of the dream of the planet, they are alive and they are very strong.
So we are living in a consensual reality, right? Now, in that reality, which is not in equanimity with these agreements, because more every time people are lying, people are taking things personally, people are constantly gossiping and making assumptions. Now, suddenly you come into the field where you're not willing to gossip, you're not willing to make assumptions, you refuse to take things personally, and you act very, very thoroughly with your word. You're true to your word. Now, most people are saying things and they don't mean it. Why? Because they have a facade. They are attempting to look good. Now, you are projecting a figure here where you are just being what you are. You're just being yourself. Now, this is very, very different from the way that the rest of society is operating. So when that starts happening, naturally there is resistance. There will be a feedback. There will be a fallback from society.
That's why you need to be a great hunter, a great warrior who can defend these four agreements with your life. Your happiness, your freedom, your entire way of living depends on it. The warrior's goal is to transcend this world, to escape from this hell and never come back. As the Toltecs teach us,
What do you mean by Toltecs, Bhaiya?
Toltecs is that's what he is coming from, that wisdom. It's the Mexican, the South American and Mexican wisdom that they are talking about. So like we have Hinduism, right? They have the Toltec techniques. Like then you have Taoism, for example, like that.
Okay. Okay.
as the Toltecs teach us, the reward is to transcend the human experience of suffering, to become the embodiment of God. That is the reward. We really need to use every bit of power we have to succeed in keeping these agreements. I didn't expect that I could do it at first. I have fallen many times, but I stood up and kept going. And I fell again and I kept going. I didn't feel sorry for myself. There was no way that I felt sorry for myself. I said, if I fall, I am strong enough. I'm intelligent enough. I can do it. I stood up and kept going. I fell and I kept going, and each time it became easier and easier. Yet, in the beginning, it was so hard, so difficult.
So now the more you start watching yourself, you will find that, you're doing all these things a lot. And then there is a tendency to start belittling yourself. But you need to transcend that. That's why it becomes hard and that's why you fall. So the more you become aware of it, don't belittle yourself. Say that, okay, now I've learned. Now next time it will not happen. And then you pay attention, because where does energy flow? Where you pay attention. The more attention you pay to that, you can nip it in the bud. Okay, when a thought comes. So in the Gita classes, he talks about how does action manifest. He says there is a vasna. So vasna is an unmanifested desire. From the vasna which is unmanifested, a manifested desire comes. The manifested desire will create a thought in your head. The thought will then create the action. Okay, so now if I can remove it at the state, if I can observe the action and then say that, okay, this action was a problem. Now slowly, the moment you start observing it at the action level, you take it one step up. If the thought comes, you remove it from the thought itself. Then you go one step up where you remove the desire itself. And then what happens is that you clear the vasana itself. Now, when you want to transcend, what he was saying, that the idea over here, when he says over here very clearly, the warrior's goal is to transcend this world, to escape from this hell and never come back. So what is this? He's talking about moksha in the Hindu concept. So when all my vasanas are disappeared, they have been totally eliminated, that is when I will get moksha. So if I can follow these agreements in an impeccable manner, then it will automatically lead to transcension. It will automatically lead to freedom, which Robert Monroe also talks about, is that the ultimate goal is to get freedom. Freedom from our belief systems, freedom from the boxes that we have created around ourselves, and to go into an expanded state of mind and consciousness.
Should we stop?
Just finish this. It's just one page.
So if you fall, do not judge. Do not give your judge the satisfaction of turning you into a victim. No, be tough with yourself. Stand up and make the agreement again. Okay, I broke my agreement to be impeccable with my word. I will start all over again. I am going to keep the 4 agreements just for today. Today, I will be impeccable with my word. I will not take anything personally. I will not make any assumptions, and I am going to do my best. If you break an agreement, begin again tomorrow and again the next day. It will be difficult at first, but each day will become easier and easier until someday you will discover that you are ruling your life with these 4 agreements. And you will be surprised at the new way your life has been transformed. You don't need to be religious or go to church every day. Your love and self-respect are growing and growing. You can do it. If I did it, you can do it also. Do not be concerned about the future. Keep your attention on today and stay in the present moment. Just live one day at a time. Always do your best to keep these agreements, and soon it will be easy for you. Today is the beginning of a new dream.
So one step at a time. Okay. All of us will make mistakes. The more mistakes we make, the better we are for it. Today, all learning, most of the learning that we have comes from making mistakes. We learn the most when we make mistakes. No one is perfect. And if we want perfection from ourselves, then we are creating a problem for ourselves. Okay, I think this was really nice. Anyone, anything? Nothing?
Thank you.
Okay, so then we will meet at 3:45 for meditation. Today we have Mark is going to come and give us a talk on Brazilian spiritualism. I'm sure it will be a very, very interesting subject. I didn't know that he was a PhD. He did a program with me, but I really didn't realize that he was a PhD in Brazilian, spirituality. So it should be a very, very nice experience. I'm sure that it will be. All of you have seen the thing that I've given in the group, in the virtual groups.
Yes.
No,
Yes,
I haven't.
Renuji?
I'll see it now.
Yes.
Yeah, please see the virtual groups because everything is
Yeah.
given over there.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Ram.
much.
Thank
Ram Ram. Thank you,
Ram.
Shivamla.
Ram. Welcome.